Hey, I'm Lindsay Labonte, and you're tuning in to Real People Real Estate, where we speak with people right here in Western Massachusetts who are real people with real stories in real estate. I've helped so many homeowners over the years. I'm inspired by their stories, and I hope that you're inspired to plant your roots right here in Western Massachusetts too. Today, I have a very fun, awesome guest, Crystal Kane with me. How you doing?
Hi. How
Good.
are you? Good.
We were just talking about being funky on Fridays.
Yeah, it's Funky Friday.
Yeah, I don't know when this is going to air, but it's a Friday right now.
Friday right now. Let's have fun.
We are super funky. So your bio is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Condensed it a little bit. I don't want to leave anything out, but this conversation could go in so many directions. So
let's do it.
So listen, all of our listeners, here we go. Crystal is the broker owner of Happy Valley Realty Group, a women-owned boutique brokerage based in Easthampton, Massachusetts. Special place in my heart.
Me too.
I just covered my microphone. I don't know if that's going to go out, but with over 16 years experience specializing in residential, new construction, investment properties across Western Massachusetts. Crystal's journey into real estate was inspired by observing her family's properties in Florida and France, leading her to pursue dual degrees in psychology and sociology from UMass Amherst. Beyond the professional real estate endeavors, she's also a published author, born Barron.
Yes.
Awesome
You've
book.
read it.
We'll talk about that. Licensed realtor in Massachusetts and Florida, and proud mother to an awesome daughter who I've met.
Yes.
And is studying business in Tampa. Wow.
Thank
cool. So before we dive in, because there are so many topics that we could pull from, I want to just do some kind of icebreakers. So for these, just quick answers, whatever pops into your mind, sentence or word or whatever. This one's pretty easy. What do you want me to call you today? Any nicknames, preferences? Is Crystal good?
Well, we're not drinking, so Crystal's fine.
Yeah, we were talking about having Prosecco in our bottles.
We should really be having Funky Friday Prosecco right now.
This is just water,
We're going to come up with a name. Yeah,
it's all
just
good.
Water.
Where are you spending most of your time right now?
Here.
What feels like home?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah, this feels like home.
Cool.
Yeah, I do go back and forth. I have a place in Sarasota, and I originally became licensed there a couple years ago, but now I'm just referring everything since I started the business. So,
awesome.
Yeah, but it's still nice because there's so many people that are moving both ways.
Yeah.
From Florida to Mass or Mass to Florida. So,
that's awesome.
So it kind of helps work well with the two licensures.
And then you can get out of the winter when it's just the miserable snow here.
Or you know how real estate is. If you get a glimpse of a break, you book a flight.
Yeah,
We don't get to schedule things.
Totally.
Our clients just, they determine our schedule. So
yeah. Oh, we're going to have to talk about boundaries later for work, because that's a good one.
Oh, interesting.
If you're what boundaries, right?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
If your best friend was here sitting right next to you and had 3 words to describe you after a little bit of Prosecco at any time, what would those words be?
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. This is a good one. Lindsay, we really need Prosecco for this. I would say probably outgoing. I try to be happy, and I don't like to say no to too much.
Yeah.
So, and travel,
awesome.
Sorry, that was 4 words. But anything to try new things, explore new places, see new things, kind of humble myself sometimes by going places that aren't, in the vacation trajectory. Try to expand and just do the things that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Go down the side roads. Meet the weird people, that kind of stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's why your bio is so long, because you just had so much exploring. What's something you've been really proud of professionally recently?
Oh, that's a great question. I, really recently, I don't know, one of the things that just happened, which are hard to do, is I got a first-time home buyer a brand new roof. So I know that doesn't sound like the biggest thing in the world, but when you're dealing with inspections and this kind of market, when there's multiple offers and people are going over asking and things, and then you get the offer accepted, and then you go into inspections, and everybody kind of was on pause, and then able to negotiate not just that, but a bunch of things, but a brand new roof, and get that done for them before they moved in was kind of a big deal.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's
it was.
awesome.
It doesn't happen all the time, so it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
if we had our Prosecco glasses
I know.
right now, we are cheering
I know.
for that.
And it might not sound like a big deal to some people, but when it's a first-time home buyer and you know that you just covered them for at least the next 25 years, it feels really good to just know that you did something that you kind of pushed pretty hard for.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Last little icebreaker here. What's your earliest memory tied to home ownership? Like, can you think back to that first time when little Crystal was running around and thought, oh, people actually own homes?
Oh my goodness. Okay, like my first house, like when I bought my first house.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Okay. You want me to be totally candid?
Yeah, of course.
Here's my first, and this is like very candid. I bought my first house in Chicopee that just came on the market strangely. And
oh, just recently?
yeah,
back
like
on?
for about 3 times what I bought it for.
Wow.
And I was, first time homeowner, just got married, the whole thing, and find out that I'm taking wallpaper off, and it's got literally layers and layers and layers. It was a total fixer-upper, and there was mushroom wallpaper, and then I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
So that was probably my like big like aha moment of taking apart a house. So I really encourage when people walk into houses that it doesn't need to have granite and be sparkly clean and perfect, because those things that you can do yourself will. Everybody wants it to look perfect, but I remember like going back, and I also started during the crash, so I have a big, I like people to find houses that could potentially make them money if something fell through for them.
Yeah.
So I always have this different angle of looking at homes other than just you're moving in, but how can we turn this into an income? Like, is there a finished basement, Airbnb? Could the garage be finished? Like just kind of altering like the view of this isn't just a house you're going to move into. Like, what if something went crazy and you lost your job or something terrible, and we don't want you to lose your house, but how could we make you money?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing.
Well, let's dive in actually right there, because
probably too much
info.
info.
No, this is awesome, because the way you view real estate is already coming through just in these initial questions that we've already started in our conversation, especially with your first-time home buyer that you just got the new roof for, your own house, just kind of putting in perspective, how does it fit into the rest of the financial puzzle? And I've seen you work over the years, and as you're telling these stories, I'm just thinking, oh yeah, of all of those people that you've helped, you do have some edge of where can you really get the best for the buyer, it seems like. And I'm sure on the sales side too, but I've just personally been more involved on the buy side. So when you think of everybody who you've helped at this point, hundreds of people probably, is there one story that stands out where you felt like, wow, this was a time of, somebody really needed something and you were really able to make it happen that you're most proud of?
That's a really good question. There was no prep for this.
I was going to say, none of this is a test.
I have to really go back. I guess one of the things, and I know you can relate to this because you did own a multifamily in that area, but I think one of the things that is really cool is that all the people, I would say, a lot of people have asked me like, oh, how do you get your clients? Like, and I don't do any real advertising or anything. It's all repeat. It's like somebody's cousin or uncle or sister or brother or whatever, and or children or grandchildren or whatever. And I think
isn't it crazy?
It is
grandchildren.
It is crazy. And we started like And so
we're 29, so it's fine.
Yeah, just our birthday just happened, and so I think one of the things that I'm thinking about is what people were paying for in Easthampton. Specifically, let's go back 12, 15 years ago for like, what people considered as not as desirable areas, which to me like is not accurate at all. Like I feel like all of Easthampton is like pretty desirable, and but people had this kind of notation of like, oh, that's
certain neighborhoods.
Certain neighborhoods or things like that. And I know we're not, supposed to do that. It was more of like a persona of like what people thought. Like, oh, I grew up here. That's not like where I want to be. But it turns out those places that I sold for, 2 families for $100 and something thousand are now $400,000 and $500,000. So that makes me really happy because I recently ran into somebody at a brewery, and they now have 2 kids, and they were telling me that they like know how much equity they have, and they can't thank me enough for kind of telling them like the same thing. Redo the floors, don't worry about it. you're in a great spot. This is awesome. Definitely invest. And I think it was under 200,000 back then.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
It's awesome, actually. It feels really good when you see people gain equity rather than the other story of that, where you just kind of push them out the door and you're like, oh, just sell them the house and then move on.
Right.
So I think the reason that I end up working with all these people's families or friends or whatever is because I try really hard to make sure that they're 100% comfortable. There's nothing worse than somebody in the middle of a contract or we're at inspections and they're scrolling through, like, still looking at houses.
Oh, buyer's remorse. Yeah. And in this market, I mean, you experience this with people's mindsets now. It's just so different, and I think it can be so disheartening for people maybe, and they finally get an offer accepted, and then they sort of have that
like, oh, did
moment.
I do it right? Yeah. And especially, conversely, like I'm doing that part of it. You're also doing it where you're like trying to get them the best rate. So I'm trying to get them the best price. And I don't always I always tell people, go to the number that you are not afraid to walk away from and that you won't be upset about. You don't want to go to the point where you feel uncomfortable or you're going to have, like you said, like buyer's remorse or any kind of regret. And if you're feeling that at all, like, let's stop now. Because I don't want anyone to feel that way. So I try really hard not to pressure people, let them make their own decisions, just encourage like what, might put it over the edge or something like that. But I'm not big into like overspending and doing the biggest asking price and whatever. I want people to really feel that they made a good decision and they're happy, and they'll remember me for that. And that it was a smooth transaction instead of like a scary, like, you don't want to see anybody nervous.
It's a big decision.
It's a huge decision, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And it matters, and it also matters, like, okay, what you're doing now, and then eventually, like, what you want to do with either the house or the
next house.
Exactly.
Or are you getting married? What else are you saving for? What else matters?
Absolutely.
So it sounds like you're finding really creative ways to find inventory too in this market where, I mean, do you think buyers' perceptions now are so inundated maybe with HGTV and, like, you mentioned the granite countertops and all that kind of stuff?
I kind of, I kind of go into real estate and showing houses or listing. I'm pretty loosey-goosey with that stuff because it should be fun, and it's very, very stressful. And anybody who says it's not a stressful thing, it really is for all parties. But if you work with really good people, if you work with a good lender, like you work with a good attorney, you work with good people, it's just a cohesive, like, we should pop bottles at the end. Like, it's that big of a deal. But if you work with really good people the whole way through, if you all take care of each other, if everything is, I'm huge into transparency and disclosing. So if there's something that we need to talk about, let's find out. If your dog needs an emergency vet bill, contact your lender. It's just being aware of those things ahead of time. If you need to get back in and just make sure that you feel 100% comfortable even before inspections, let's do it.
Try to do it,
So try to be, like, as available as you can for the buyer and same with the seller. Like, when I say I go in pretty loosey-goosey contractually, I joke that I've been called a pit bull 4 times. The big joke is I have a pit bull. So it kind of makes me laugh because they're big babies. But, in terms of contracts, like, I pay real close attention to those. But in terms of the other stuff, if I can take any of the stress off of people,
and
I also joke about that. Like, I get paid for stress. That's what I get paid for.
So where do you think that comes from? I mean, you have this background where your family was in real estate as well, right? Florida, France? No, they just
like investment stuff.
Okay.
Investment. My grandparents in Florida were in like Destin area, so if you know, like that whole spot. And I think at one point they were doing like 30 condos, and my grandmother was an interior designer, and then my other grandparents on my other side retired in the south of France, and so that I had that kind of knowledge of the properties that they owned there in France, and then in some in Luxembourg. So
and the entrepreneurship that you saw, and your dad owned a jewelry store.
And my dad sadly has passed, but he was Bill Bruff.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Bill Bruff Jewelers, and I worked there like my whole life. So I always kind of say, the only other thing I know as well as real estate is probably jewelry.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a funny parallel, but
yeah. Well, there probably are parallels, right? Between you had that customer service really early on, you watched your family manage properties, manage the jewelry store, all of that kind of stuff. I think I do find sometimes people who are serial entrepreneurs, I like to say.
Yeah.
And in real estate, there's usually multiple avenues that you're in. So
I can think of, a time where my dad would be at his bench, with the back to me, and I'd be at the counter for customers, and they'd look at something, and I would tell them, walk away. And if you're still thinking about it, tomorrow or the next day, just call us or come back in. And my dad would whip his chair around and be like, how could you send people out the door, Crystal? And I kind of feel the same way about real estate, where if we went and saw a house, obviously this market's a little bit more aggressive, but even still, if you need to go home that night, let me make a call to the agent, let them know we're serious, but you haven't made a decision yet. Yeah. So I have that same kind of, I think of my dad whipping the chair around, don't let them leave. And I feel the opposite, where if you do let people leave and you're still thinking about that house, and we might have looked at 4 or 5 or 6 that day or over the weekend, if you're still thinking about that 1 or 2, let's go back and tell me so I can call the realtor and let them know that they're interested. And that's on the buy side. Right. Obviously the listing side's different, but so I like people to really, really feel 100%. This is a huge deal. Right. This isn't a test drive of a car. This is like
you're going to live here.
Yeah, you're going to live here.
And that was something that you learned really early on, which is cool.
Yeah.
Sorry for my allergies.
No,
I'm right in the middle of this. So talk to me about, I've been dying to ask you this question because I feel like you're going to have a good story.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's only water in there, but if it wasn't, what's the craziest thing you've ever walked into when showing a house, or like most memorable experience?
Oh gosh, do you want bad or good?
Yeah, let's do both if you've got 2 ideas.
I have a couple bad ones. I'm not sure they're, I had one recently that was really interesting. There was only one picture online. My client's a first-time home buyer, and his dad is a client of mine, so it was for the son. And we walked, and he was like, I really like this neighborhood. I really want to go see this house. So we went and saw this house. I won't say anything about the town or
where
anywhere.
It was.
I won't say anything. We walked in and immediately knew why there was only one photo posted. It was pretty floor to ceiling, packed with stuff.
A hoarder situation.
A hoarder situation. And the owner was there, and she was really sweet, and she really wanted to tour us around. And of course, we toured, knowing that they didn't want the house. But I was like, let's just let's see the house. Like maybe there's a situation here. Sure. This is kind of a funny story. So we got all through the house, and we got to one room, and she was like, oh, do you want to see all the bedrooms? And there was 5. And I was like, yeah, of course. So we opened, everything else, if you can imagine, was floor to ceiling. We opened this one room. It is completely perfect and exactly gorgeous. And I'm not kidding you when I say probably the size of this stage was a Tupac Shakur framed poster
oh my gosh.
on the floor like a shrine.
Wow.
It was hilarious. And so I was like, oh my gosh, is that Tupac? And she was like, oh, my husband really likes him. Oh. So like the entire house was chaos.
Except for the shrine.
Yeah, and we're talking like chaos. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like they obviously had children. There was 5 bedrooms. Like it was chaos.
Yeah.
And then we walk in, and there's this immaculate, like you could walk in like barefoot with like, and then there's just Tupac on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, I feel like it was back in the 90s, and I was like.
I was going to say, did you just start singing? And
a little bit.
Breaking out.
Me and my clients were like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And
wow. So it was definitely unique.
It was really unique. And then, so that was a really interesting. On the other side, something that brings me back, gosh, over 15 years ago, I went to a listing that only had a photo of, and this is, I guess, what I'm leading into, because you asked like what was unique. Yeah. Is that photos really matter in listings.
Yes.
That's what people look at first,
Just
and then
thinking that.
and they read the descriptions next. So you know, anybody who's looking, like, if you can look past the photos sometimes, because you never know, and that's where I'm going with. This particular agent is kind of known for this, wicked nice person, but isn't as photo driven as others, has been around a really long time.
Yeah.
And this goes back 15 years, so you can't even tell you what house it is. But I remember he took a picture of a rock outside, like a boulder rock, like a glacial type rock. And so we went and looked at this house because they really liked the town. And
They really like the rock mostly.
They really like the rock mostly.
It really caught their attention.
Yeah. And so we got there, and it was a literal castle.
Wow.
It was being worked on by a husband and wife for 20 years until sadly they both passed away, and then the children were unloading it. And I think back then it was like $250,000 or something. I don't remember exactly. Wow. It was to the point where my clients, it was a true castle with, like, you know, the tower. And, like a fairy tale castle. And you'd never know
Did it have secret passageways?
No, I wish it did. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
But I have seen those in houses before. And, it was like that cool. And the property was just like incredible. Yeah. It was so much to the point that once my client said no, I called, you know, now my ex-husband, but I called him at the time and said, I think I want this house. Like, I think I need to see this house. I think you need to see this house. Yeah. It was that amazing. And so that goes back to, like, marketing really matters, and photos really matter, and, like, how you, I believe that you should spend just as much time on a listing as you should with a buyer. So if you're spending hours and hours in a car, like, you know, showing people houses, you should spend just as much time, like, on the listing and, like, making sure that it's representing what is actually offered, because I had, you know, two examples are
where the pictures, and I think do you feel like there's a little bit of a shift right now too, where, and I'm not a real estate agent, so I don't want to say anything, it sound like,
but you know,
it was easy for a little bit, but where there were multiple offers and maybe the listing photos didn't quite matter as much because houses were kind of flying off the market, but now it seems a little bit of a shift in some areas back, and I think people maybe have expectations too of good photos, videos, you know, good description.
You know, I think that the way that you portray the property is also a reflection on, like, your what you're doing, right? Yeah. Most realtors obviously work under a broker, and now as a broker, I really care about, like, how you represent yourself, because you are an independent contractor if you're a realtor. So what you're putting out there is essentially your branding. Your branding, And so you may be somebody who's really fabulous at doing the like self videos or whatever they're called. I'm the least techy person. You will see this on the video. I am not.
You're doing great.
No, I'm not.
You're crushing it.
I'm like not photogenic.
By the way, Crystal's starting a podcast too.
Oh my
so look out for it.
Stay away. It'll be full of Prosecco. Yeah. So no, it's just kind of one of those things where I think that everybody brands their own way, and some of the kitschy stuff works really, really well for some people. It just depends on who you are and what makes you feel good. And
it has to be authentic.
It has to be authentic, and that's not necessarily what's going to sell the property. I do love the virtual tours and things like that. I think the layouts, now most photography companies will offer all these things. I think they're very much worth the value, and they help people, especially since we're in our little happy valley and we get a lot of people from out of state.
Right. Now more than ever.
Yes. Yeah. And now they've got, I believe they're doing flights like from Boston, New York, and some different things that we're doing around here, Hartford to New York.
A little bit more connection.
Yeah, a little bit more connection where we can bring more people in who are used to really, really high prices, where to us, they might seem a little higher than usual, but to them, they are getting fabulous school systems. They're getting all the, like, great local, the colleges. Area. Yes, exactly. And we have this wonderful, like, local vibe, and really, like you said, authentic. Like, we're real people here that, like, it matters.
Yeah, we're in Happy Valley.
We're in Happy Valley.
So tell me, Happy Valley Realty. Yeah. Just Realty Group.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's big. I mean, you went out and yes, when you're an agent, you're, like you were just saying, essentially working for yourself, but you're under a broker. But you went out and did your own thing recently in the last year, 2 years?
Yeah, under a year actually.
What made you feel like you had it was the right time, or what prompted it?
Thank you. So there's a couple answers to that. So one is I felt that there was, a change in the way I've, worked for brokerages, only a couple over 15 plus years now. And I, nothing bad to say about any brokerage. It was just kind of the same old, right? Like, different companies do different things to kind of incentivize or what they expect from their agents and things like that. What I learned was the licensing in Florida was extremely difficult. I felt like I was in law school.
Yeah.
And so I was humbled a bit that I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And Florida law is very different. And so that brought me kind of back to my roots of like, okay, stop taking this. And then our change of forms, we had a lot of changes in forms. So kind of thinking about like, how does that fall into place for buyers, and like, how are we protected and compensation and things like that. So I looked at all that, and then I in the middle of that, I went to a few different brokerages in Sarasota, Florida, like Sotheby's and in some of the really high-end. And then I found this small brokerage that's more of a boutique high-end brokerage. And what I found was their platform was 100% different than anything I'd seen.
Yeah.
Their pay structure was not based on a percentage for commission.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get too in depth about things, but I really liked what they were doing. I really liked the fact that they knew their niche.
Yeah.
And that if they didn't know the area, they were happy to have a referral base that they used of trusted people outside of that.
Right.
And so I came back and I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I could do that. I could, and I wanted everything for the company to be transparent. So every agent makes exactly the same. We do it based on a transaction fee, not a percentage. So you can sell $1 million house or a $100,000 house.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's just one transaction fee.
Yeah.
And I kind of tried to get rid of all the stuff that most really experienced realtors know how to do, and just are like me, maybe over 15 years have made a call 4 times to a broker.
Yeah.
So those people who know what they're doing, who just might have a quick question or something like that, or a little boost. And I was like, okay, you're really knowledgeable and you're really experienced. You should be rewarded for that.
Yeah.
So financially, that's what I try to.
That's great.
So I kind of used the model that I learned in Florida. I talked a little bit with the broker there, who's fabulous, and said I would love to bring that back here.
Yeah.
Into our little happy valley and do just that, kind of bring a little bit more happiness to it.
Yeah.
We set these up only because I send a thank you card to every co-broke after we finish a sale.
Yep.
These aren't for clients, these are for the people that I worked with.
Oh, great.
Just to say thank you, because that's what matters. These are the people that we work with. We don't have a choice on our clients.
Right.
We don't have a choice on our lenders. We don't have a choice on our who we work
Everybody
with.
has to play nice.
Everybody has to play nice.
It's a happy valley.
Exactly. And so my thought was, let's go into this really, really nice.
Yeah.
And even if it can't always be perfect, at least we can all be really, really kind to each other. So that was kind of the shift that I felt that maybe was needed a little bit less, I don't know, I'd say a little more honey, a little less vinegar.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So just kind of looking at the whole real estate market as a little bit less competing with the person in your own company or competing with others, and instead saying like, oh, you're with such and such a company, but you're hosting an open house in Longmeadow on this day at this time. I'm going to host one too. Are you cool with that? Let's work together. We're all in this together. Let's help each other. And it also helps our clients, because if we have an agent that we can text message or call quickly, who we know because we were nice, then we can sometimes get answers faster. They might respond quicker. They know us. And that does happen with an experience, but it also happens, I think, with kindness.
Yeah.
So,
and we have that mom and pop feel here in the area, which is really nice to see you continue to maintain that, because there's certainly been a lot of shifts in some of the smaller brokerages and bigger companies coming in, but new entrepreneurship always thrives through. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and I really wanted it. specifically called it group because I wanted every agent to feel that they were part of
the team.
Part of the team, yes.
Yeah.
And that we're not just, I'm not like up here and they're here. It's like we're all right here.
Yeah.
And we're all together, and, every kind of decision I ask, like, what do you think about this? And then every, without going into too much detail, all the money that the company makes goes back into the into the company, because I am a working broker.
Yeah.
So it helps all of us.
Yeah.
So it's more about just like keeping it local. If we don't know an area, reaching out to the realtors that do,
Right.
working with them, even if from whatever company, and just having this kind of cohesive, like we're all
in it together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have such a span of, working internationally, basically, between France and here, and Florida, and
did work with the realtors there too. Yeah.
Yes, and all of that definitely shines through in the way that you've been speaking about your experiences starting the business, working with whether it's buyers, sellers, whomever. And I think another question that I had for you is, you've worked with people who are investors or maybe doing flips or doing even buyers that want to renovate. That is definitely always the hot topic, right? Like, how do we flip a house? If you could just give a couple of quick words of wisdom from, your perspective, you've been in so many houses. How can you tell if one is, I guess, worth it or
Worth
not?
it?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about price anymore.
Right.
Because even
It's about that poster that was, $2 poster that you saw in the house. You want to make sure it comes with that. For sure.
Well, if the rest of the house was it didn't even need to be in good shape.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it could have red walls or whatever. It could just have things that aren't necessarily attractive to most buyers. This just was in very, very very deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
And so those kinds of things.
How do you spot that?
You can kind of look around, and you don't have to necessarily be a contractor to, in your head, kind of add up the numbers. And I don't usually give numbers, but I can let the buyers kind of assume, okay, if this costs this and it needs absolutely everything, walking in, you might be $100,000 in.
Yeah.
Is it, and we're already at this price.
Right.
So kind of deciding like what will make money. Sometimes I'm shocked.
Yeah.
At what things go for. And I think if you're an early investor, just really feel free to utilize like people who have done it for a long time, ask questions, bring in your electrician, bring in your whomever it is, even before maybe you put in the offer or before inspections or during, because I think that there is a general misnotion that things are a lot more expensive than they seem.
Right.
Something as simple as a roof can be a lot more expensive than we think it is. A quick
and probably now more than ever.
Yes, and a quick kitchen flip.
Yeah.
Just making the kitchen look pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to like decide how to say this, but I think utilizing people and that are either more knowledgeable than you or have been investing longer than you. I was just hearing from actually a mutual client of ours who tried to help somebody who got into a situation where they were way over their head and didn't really thought they could do it and thought they could do a lot of it themselves and things like that. Well, it turns out that it's much bigger. I'm sure everybody's watched those, flip or flop TV shows. Or
this one was a flop. It was
pretty
flopping,
much,
starting to flop.
Yes, exactly. And those situations where you get into something that is heavily expensive, and now and time is money. So if you're going to flip a house, do it as fast as you can without, compromising the house.
Yeah.
But if you're waiting 2, 3, 4 months for supplies to come in and things, those are 2, 3, 4 months that now we're heading into winter or now we're heading into whatever.
And you're paying. A lot of people forget about the maintenance or the, taxes, insurance, more what they're paying along the way.
Exactly. And if you have a vacant home, the insurance is going to go up.
Yeah.
And also as a lender, even if they paid cash and now they're pulling money out, where are the questions, like what's happening?
Yeah.
So, and it is hard because I think there's a lot more investors and a lot more cash than people
kind of realize is out there. Yeah.
And I think even the cash buyers still believe cash is king in a sense, but I often as a listing agent get multiple offers, and my clients don't always choose the cash.
Yeah.
The cash isn't always king.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just better terms. So it's looking at the whole picture of like
Right.
what makes sense and finding out ahead of time, what does your if you're listing a property, what does your client need? Do they need a quick closing?
Yeah.
Do they
Right,
need
what
a long
matters most.
Yeah, what matters most? Because it's not. I've had people pick, which is really cool. I've had people pick offers based because you know, the person was a veteran. I think that's so cool. Over a cash buyer.
Right.
I thought that was
Yeah.
so. That reminds me of like one of the
Totally.
things you asked about. So just thinking about things that are kind of they feel good.
Yeah.
They didn't make a decision just purely based on money.
You bring people into everything, and I think that's the important part.
Well-
You know, people, what are their goals? What are really their needs? And I think that's what part of our real estate market here actually, for the most part, in Western Mass, I think that's most people's goals is how do we just continue to keep everything thriving like it has been.
And, you know, I know that we're similar in the way that we love to buy local stuff. We love going to local places, local restaurants, you know, on and on and on, shopping, all that. We're going to run into these people.
Right.
I want to run
Right.
into these people.
Right.
I don't want a situation where I'm like, oh goodness.
Right in our backyard.
Yeah,
exactly.
so I want them
when you're
to-
at the grocery store in your pajamas.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
And
I did your loan.
Yeah, and you want it to be a positive experience where when you do run into them, and same with the co-brokes, same with the working with another realtor,
Right.
you want to run into them and have a chat and have a quick hello or a hug or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever feel in a situation that I left that and I just didn't feel
Right.
good about it.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I've, you know, really, really good. I mean, most of them just turn into friends.
Yeah.
I've gone to more baby showers. And,
Oh, I know. That's the
yeah,
thing. There's always something going on. Well, actually, speaking of that,
Yeah.
you were really part of the impetus of me meeting my husband, Sam.
I know,
So,
it's the
yeah, there you
coolest
go.
thing ever. I
Yeah.
know. And I remember your first date, and
Oh,
I
I
remember
know.
all of it.
So funny.
And-
That would
and
be a whole other show.
that would be a really fun show because we could bring Sam in and
Oh,
get his like facial
Speaking
cues.
of not liking, I was going to say not liking cameras. He's been doing great, but
Yeah, it would be great. And your beautiful babies, oh my gosh, they're
thank
so.
you.
I feel like if Facebook's good for anything, it's
right.
to like
keep
watch
up. Well,
children.
same thing with Lily. I mean, I can't believe that she's,
20.
yeah, it's amazing.
She's 20.
So
Yeah.
speaking of more kind of on the personal
Yeah.
side of things, just
Yeah.
as we wrap up here, your book.
Yeah.
Just can you give a quick plug? I mean, I read it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
This is a real estate podcast, but
I know.
you're an entrepreneur and you do other
you.
things. So
Thank you.
Yeah. I want a sequel. I want I just blanked. Is it Sam? The person's name who's like on the beach and has the dog?
Yeah.
Okay, of course. I shouldn't
Of
forget
course
that.
it's
It's my
Sam.
husband's
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no connection. Okay, the book is called Born Barren.
Oh, I know.
Very
There's no.
coincidental.
I
There's a
very.
character
Their
named
name's Sam,
Sam.
which
Very
very coincidental. Yes, I know. And it was.
It was just destiny.
Yeah, it was destiny, and it was so funny. And the reason it's called Born Barren was the parallel between kind of what I call now my allergies. Excuse me.
I know this is like the worst time to be filming this here in
Excuse
May.
me. Yeah, sorry. So what I like to call is the parallel between kind of the uber wealthy and the shanty poor. And Simone Barron is the uber wealthy, like billionaire heiress.
Yeah.
And Shane Lacey is the kind of epitome of born into nothing and kind of grasping for that, what that feels like, because she's gotten little taste of it and their friendship over the years and how they've met and their childhood together and things like that. So the Born Barren was a parallel between kind of being born with everything and being born without anything. Meaning Simone was born with absolutely like a gold spoon.
Right.
And, you know, Shane being born without
It's a great
anything.
read.
Thank you.
And again, I think it also speaks to, you know, you obviously came up with this book and drew from maybe experiences or whatever creative writing, but also in listening to how you conduct your real estate business, I mean, you have the perspective. You have this multi-state, multi-country, multi-degrees, you know, just this way of looking at things that I think makes people feel really comfortable and also empowered and you kind of see these different perspectives. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
That's
you for
really
chatting with us
sweet.
today.
Yeah.
I know. So I've got
Thank
some
you.
really
Oh,
quick,
okay.
rapid fire. These
All
are
right.
just like
Okay, let's do it.
one
Let's
word.
get weird.
I have a feeling I know your answer to the first one, but
Let's get weird.
These are one word, whatever pops into your head.
Okay.
Coffee or cocktails while house hunting?
Oh my gosh. While house hunting?
Yep.
Like with clients?
You can answer it however you want to. Depends on the client.
I leave that up to them. I leave that up to everyone, actually.
Yeah.
And that's so funny you say coffee or cocktails, because that's literally what I say to people. Coffee or cocktails.
Yeah.
Because I'm a social drinker. I'm not like a crack open a bottle.
You never know.
Yeah. But so I'm always happy for whatever.
For either.
For
Awesome.
either. Yeah. Sorry.
Just like you said, you always say yes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I try.
What's one local business that you love supporting right now?
Oh my
If you can pick
goodness.
one. That's a hard one.
Such a good one. Any specifically any restaurant that's new to open.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I've there's a couple places that I just found out about. Like there's Amherst Oyster House, I think.
I have not been there yet.
I have been. We should go.
Date night,
They have like
yep.
a shuck a buck or something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I'm,
yeah, I think I saw that
and
on
I'm
their
like,
Facebook
ooh,
page.
I'm all about that. So, oh gosh, there's so many. I think like you, like anybody who's starting in an industry, I love to support them because
Yeah.
I'm all about like, and especially agents who, I'm going way too long. I'm sorry. This
That's
was
okay.
one word. Like agents who like just started and may like even start asking me questions, even though they're on the other side, and they really could ask their broker, but they're asking me, and I'm like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
Let's figure it
that's
out.
so good.
So don't worry, just fill in these blanks, send me this form, and like we'll get this
Well,
figured
I
out.
always think it's like, what's the saying? Rising tide lifts all ships, right? So the more we all help each other, and that's also just, not to make it about me, but like this podcast, right? It's just a fun thing, but can we share stories and can we help each other learn? That's the goal.
And I love that it's not super formal, because I am not super formal.
You survived. We're almost at the end. I can't even read this. Okay, describe your experience in the housing market right now in just one word.
Oh gosh. Specifically in Happy Valley, Western Mass.
Yeah.
Calming down.
Calming down. Okay, we're calming. We are clearly the calmest people ever. You know,
think,
no energy here.
Yeah. Well,
No, a good calm.
So
though.
weird. Yeah.
And then what's your favorite room in a house?
Oh, what a great question. I will tell you my least favorite room.
Okay. Flip it.
The primary.
Okay.
You sleep there. Sorry, but bedrooms are for sleeping. I don't see the need to have these giant rooms.
Elaborate things.
My favorite room is probably where you're going to spend your most time, which is going to be in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love you said that about the primary, because our primary bedroom is a disaster. It's like our catch-all. It is
That's
not
what
pretty.
happens. That's what happens. And
Yep.
that's the least, that's the most neglected room in my house as well. And I feel like it's such a, and I'm a no TV in the bedroom person.
Yeah.
So it becomes the catch-all. I have all these clothes that I've never worn. Like, it's just a crazy place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay, last one.
All right.
Any final, this can be more than one word if you want, but any final
I keep going
parting
off script. Yeah.
words of advice? I didn't expect you to be on script.
I know.
For entrepreneurs, either people that want to start their own business or specific to real estate, either way, just if you had to give like one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I did have another company that I started years ago, Lilybugs. So I had I had invented another product. So
see, the resume gets longer and longer.
I forgot all about it. So, and that was really fun. So one word or some words for people who are getting started. Honey over vinegar.
Honey over vinegar. There you go.
Nice.
That's got to be on
Just
a
be
shirt.
nice, right? I just think like there's so much divide right now, and a little bit of aggression and a little bit of anger, and if we could just put our phones down for a second, especially like when you're out with your people. And I never answer the phone when I'm with clients. I try really hard, and I start my, when you mentioned some boundaries.
I was going to say,
that was probably my
boundaries.
biggest boundary that I say right off the bat is that I will not answer. I may send a quick text, or if I'm waiting for a lawyer or something, but to just like put it away for a second.
Yeah.
It's not all about the phone. It's not all about what is on the phone. It's about
this. hanging out, recording a podcast.
Yeah,
Here we are.
we're doing this.
You did it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here
was
today.
Super fun.
Yes, I
hope
really
we have a
appreciate
part
it.
2, and we can
we will.
Let's
There'll be more.
keep the Funky Friday going.
Totally.
We're
I
gonna
love
have a
that.
cocktail day,
Funky
a coffee
Friday.
day.
Yep.
All right.
We're gonna go to Amherst Oyster Bar.
We're gonna go to Amherst Oyster Bar.
It's gonna be awesome.
We're gonna try all the new things, and we're gonna just like support our little Happy Valley.
Exactly.
And we're gonna try to maybe put a little more happy in this place.
Yes. Oh, today is just gonna be such a happy day now. Thank
It is.
you.
I know, and it's icky out.
It is. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in to Real People Real Estate, where we speak with real people with real stories in real estate right here in Western Massachusetts. If you were inspired by Crystal's story, there's a link in the show notes. I'd love to hear from you and have you be a guest so that we can help people plant their roots right here in Western Massachusetts. See you soon.